Hello Namibia, and welcome to your daily lunchtime show where we get to catch up on current events and headlines that are in the news. My name is Priska Anyolo and you are watching NMH at 1. So let us first have a look at the incoming news this morning. The Namibia Nature Foundation sent out a press release taking a stand in the discussion about the local biomass industry and the export of charcoal from Namibia to Germany. Last year, more than a dozen civil society organizations and scientists issued a statement opposing a transcontinental biomass partnership between Namibia and Hamburg, which investigated the feasibility of using Namibian bush biomass to power biomass plants in Hamburg as part of Hamburg's coal exit strategy. According to the Nature Foundation, the information from these statements have been widely shared but did not adequately present the Namibian context, which may have resulted in distorted public opinion. Moving on to our COVID-19 update. In our COVID-19 monitor, by Tuesday, 1,755 people were housed in government's quarantine facilities, with entries and exits for the past 7 days remaining above 1,000. The Irongo region with 225 quarantinees and Karas region with 123 have not reported any changes in about 4 weeks. We have asked health authorities to clarify why people are seemingly not being discharged in these two regions. Oshikoto region now has less than 1,000 persons in quarantine. In most regions, numbers continue to remain stable, but increases have been reported in Khomas, now at 86, Kunene with 185, and Omaheke, where 183 people are in quarantine. Do join us tomorrow for a look at the 7-day averages for Namibia and its 35 health districts. As always, next we bring you video news clips from around the country. In our first video, the governor of the Oshana region, Elia Irimari, was a speaker at the National Food and Nutrition Security Policy Engagement in Ngwediva. Tunohole Mungoba was there.
Therefore, we wish to appreciate the value in partnership between the Office of the Prime Minister and World Food Programme in making this policy initiative journey possible. It is also gratifying to know that the regional stakeholders, both from Shana and Shikoto region, have made time to participate in this important workshop. I'm convinced that the participants will provide their collective inputs toward the policy process, considering the countrywide extensive stakeholder consultations, the stakeholders' participation and input. There is no doubt that the implementations of this policy action plan will bring about the desired results and ultimately transform the agricultural sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, food and nutrition security is central to our efforts in achieving sustainable economic growth, as well as inclusive and dignified livelihood of our people. These food security policies
In our second video, the corner of Anton Lubowski and Hendrik Witbooi Street in Kommersdal, that is actually Swakopmund Central Business District, was closed off earlier this week after a truck's trailer with charcoal on board capsized in front of a residence after miscalculating a sharp bend. The trailer was towed away on Wednesday before the bags of charcoal were removed. Out of Kawe submitted this clip. In our third video, Kevin Murphy talks to Yolanda Nell about how he still hand stitches his animal skin products. Donations towards a machine will help him expand his business.
Kykers, ek is so opgewonde. Ek staan vandag met Kevin Murphy hier in die noordelike industriële gebied in La Friends. Vertel gou vir ons, jy sê jy maak nog hierdie goed en jy stik dit nog met die hand.
Ja, ek maak nog hierdie goed van my oeroupas en oumas maak ek nog hierdie goed, maar ons gebruik nog steeds die hand. Ons werk met die hand vas. Ronde matte, maak nie saak wat soort matte jy wil hê nie. So ek vra miskien as iemand vir ons kan sponsor met masjiene waar ons kan mooi die goedere afrond en want kyk ons kry bestellings van mense wil klere hê. Maar nou kan ons sien want ons bietjie ingewikkeld om met die hand dit te kan doen.
As jy nou nog met die hand werk, hoe lank vat dit om so 'n produk klaar te maak?
Om 'n ronde ene te maak, dit vat 4 velle. Nou moet jy die velle sny. Voor dit moet jy eers die vel nat maak en dan weer reguit trek. Ons noem dit spalk. En dan moet jy hom sny. In sy vorm hoe moet is, dan werk jy hom en dan moet jy nog daar spante wat dan moet jy hom inlas en dan moet jy hom weer nat maak en dan laat jy kan reguit strek. Dan as jy nou klaar, as jy daar uitkom, dan moet jy hom nog weer sny laat jy kan mooi sy vorm kry.
Kevin, dan sê nou net as iemand nou 'n donasie wil maak, wat is jou kontakbesonderhede?
Dit is 081 38 91178.
Baie dankie, Kevin.
Looking at the front pages of various Namibian papers today, we can see that both the Algemene Zeitung and the Republican are leading with an article about Windhoek's Mayor Job Amupanda, who announced that the city will cut off any power supply of any person or entity, and thus also the one of the government, for non-payment. The government is said to owe the city 82 million Namibian dollars. The city itself has paid back an amount of 268 million Namibian dollars that it owed to NamPower and has therefore completely cleared its debt with the national electricity supplier. The Namibian Sun has a lead on the Minister of Higher Education, Ita Kanji Murangi, who has reminded state universities and institutions of higher learning that they should admit grade 11 learners who will otherwise end up on the streets. According to the new education system, students can now leave school after completing grade 11. However, numerous universities had announced that they would prefer grade 12 graduates as university entrants, or that the qualifications of grade 11 graduates would not be sufficient for university admission. The Namibian is reporting on the State House, which has identified a Russian billionaire as a possible investor for the government's desalination project, which would provide the coastal and central parts of Namibia with water. The president of Botswana, Mokgweetsi Masisi, indicated during his recent visit to Namibia that Botswana might like to enter into a partnership with Namibia for this project. The New Era is leading with a story about the PDM parliamentarian Kaziongere Shewundu, who raised concerns over residents who are living at the once prosperous settlement of Combat. According to Shewundu, the residents are being exploited. The flamboyant Namibian businessman Knowledge Kati bought the Combat mining village for about 60 million Namibian dollars in 2015, asking residents to pay rent without delivering any key services. And on the inside of our country's newspapers, you'll be able to read up on the following. On its page 3, the Allgemeine Zeitung is reporting on the baking department of the Hansa Bakery in Swakopmund, which will close its doors on the 30th of April after being in operation for 43 years. The Preitzer Bilski Bakery and Confectionery, which also belongs to the company, will also close down at the end of April. According to the owners, various problems like the shortage of a skilled workforce arose even before the corona pandemic. The Republican on its page 2 is featuring an article about a fire in the informal settlement of Okuriangava, during which a total of 6 corrugated iron houses burned down completely on Friday. On page 3, the Namibian Sun is reporting on the Deputy Health Minister, Esther Mwinjangoe, who is facing strong opposition within the National Unity Democratic Organization due to a pro-abortion motion that she tabled in Parliament last year. On page 3 of the Namibian, we can read about the Namibian College of Open Learning that has been overwhelmed by pupils who are making telephonic bookings to register for the academic year. The telephonic system has been introduced to mitigate the spread of COVID-19, but the sheer volume of calls put NAMCOL under a lot of pressure. New Era on its page 3 reports on the Walvis Bay municipality, which threatened to sell houses that were built under the Mass Urban Land Servicing Project if the allocated residents are unable to pay for them. And in all 3 NMH publications, you will also find today's Market Watch. The Market Watch leads with an article about the company B2 Gold, which spent nearly $1 billion Namibian on the development of the Oshikoto mine. And with that, we have reached the end of today's lunchtime show. I'm Priska Agnolo, and thank you so much for watching. We look forward towards engaging with you again tomorrow. And be safe and stay healthy. And also stay tuned for a quick snapshot of today's weather as well.